There is a theme that emerges quickly from my conversation with Shauna Kofoed. You have to believe enough in yourself and your gifts not to take no for an answer. And when life gets complicated, as it always does, there is no point in feeling sorry for yourself. Instead, you have to take action and create the world as you want to see it. Now you start to understand why a little girl who wasn't always encouraged to be an actor has starred in two Broadway shows, multiple television series, including her current role on NCIS Hawaii, and now she has started her own production company that has produced two feature films. As Shauna says, you can't simply wait for people or anyone to notice your worth and what you can contribute. You have to do it for yourself first, and then create work to bring others along with you. Hello and welcome to At the Podium with me, Patrick Huey. At the Podium is a multimedia platform where story by story we explore the resiliency of the human spirit with people who are using their own personal journeys to leave a positive and transformative imprint on our world today. At the Podium holds a space for meaningful conversation, inspiration, and life. Today, I'm thrilled to share the podium with Shauna Kofoed. Shauna is an actor, writer, producer whose second feature, the darkly comedic thriller Clear Mind, was just released on Amazon and Tubi. She's currently recurring as Commander Chase on NCIS Hawaii and is fully enjoying island life. After graduating from Northwestern, Shauna worked in Chicago theater before heading to New York, where she appeared in the Broadway plays Proof with Jennifer Jason Leigh and Night Must Fall with Matthew Broderick. Once making the move to Los Angeles, Shauna shifted to working in television as an actor while writing scripts to one day produce. Her first feature as an actor, writer, producer under the Film Camp Productions banner, 30 Miles from Nowhere, had its world premiere at Melbourne Monster Fest, was released on Shudder, Amazon, iTunes, Tubi, Vudu, and Peacock TV, and on DVD both domestically and overseas. The film also received Hollywood's Reframe stamp for its diverse and gender-balanced cast and crew. Her most recent feature, Clear Mind, received the same award. As part of the Film Camp mission, Shauna believes in bringing together a diverse and 50% female cast and crew for each of her projects to better represent the world in which we live. This makes for a more dynamic, collaborative work environment and a better, more exciting finished film. As the more diverse the voices brought to the storytelling table, the more engaging and entertaining those stories will be. Shauna, welcome to At the Podium.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I am
Love it.
so glad that we're doing this today.
Me too. A long time coming, eh?
It's been a long
Right?
time. And you're in
I love it.
Hawaii, and it looks
Yes.
gorgeous where you are.
Yes. It's gorgeous. It's windy. Quick
Always.
spin, Oh, there. Oh, there's there. The green. That's the green. And the trampoline my children occasionally jump on.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, first of all,
Yes.
I want you to know life is so strange and life is so, things come back. I've known Rob Benedict for 30 years. We were in a play together
What?
in the 1990s, I think 94,
Oh
96, at the Milwaukee Repertory Theater, and we shared a dressing room.
How did I not know that? Oh, I adore him. I adore Rob Benedict. He is, I mean, as you know, he's amazing. Wait, what play? Do you remember the name of the
Yes,
play?
the name of the play was called Benito Sereno, and it was about this ship, a slave ship back in like
Okay.
the 17, 1800s, that the slaves who were being brought from Africa to the States revolted. Yeah, and it's the story of
Milwaukee rep.
Milwaukee
Good for them. That's
Milwaukee.
awesome.
Yeah,
I have also done a play there, I have to say.
stop.
Did you? I did Evelyn and the Polka King. Different, but also fun.
A little different.
A little different, different tone, some music. Wait,
But
I love that
yeah,
you know Rob. Yes.
he's
See?
great.
The full
It
circle.
all
Yeah.
full
So
circle.
they.
So I've got to reach out to him and say hello. It's been
Yes.
a while, but he's a good
Oh
dancer
yeah.
too. For those of you who watch him on his TV series, he's a very good dancer. I don't know if they highlight that on his show.
Gonna use
Uh,
that next time.
and he was great in your movie, by the way.
He's so good, right? He's just
So
good always. That's
yeah,
why I've hit him up a few times. It's like you guarantee you just get him there and he'll be awesome. You don't even have
yeah,
to mess with him.
he'll deliver it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to start with something that you said to shout out LA in an article. And what you said was, there is no greater feeling of satisfaction and success than watching your creative team work together in a positive and exciting way. Kindness is key. Empathy and curiosity about the human experience is key. I don't like attitude. I don't like pretenders. I don't like ego. I like people who like and respect other people, who have a great work ethic, who want to see others succeed. I'm a big believer in rising tides lift all boats, which for me means my success is the success of others as well.
Sounds so good.
It sounds so good.
But it's true.
But what I really thought about that in terms of what the pillars of your business are. And I want to know how you got to that place where within your business, gender diversity, racial diversity became the central pillars of what you were doing within your company. Because not many people in most industries have the courage or the chutzpah to do that through the lens of their work. It's a risk. And I wonder how that quote speaks to integrity. That quote speaks to a mission beyond just creating something for creating something safe. There's like something behind it. And I wonder how you got to that point.
Well, it's so funny because I've been thinking about it lately. Now I feel like it's just ingrained in my approach to all anything I'm able to do. But I came up to Chicago theater and I worked at the Goodman and the Goodman from, I don't want to date. I mean, I think that was back in the, I actually don't even, 80s, 90s, early 90s, whenever I was a young lass.
Yes.
They did colorblind casting. So you would have a family and they would be all colors, all ages. I mean, obviously you have parents and kids, whatever. Even if it didn't matter if it was a Shakespearean family or a current day one. They asked of their audience to just accept what was put on the stage, and that is the ride we're taking. There wasn't any like, oh, and she's adopted, that's why she's this way, or that, it was just, and the assumption was if you have bought a ticket and you're sitting in that audience, that you are ready to be taken on a journey, right? You have
Right.
signed the contract of like, take me somewhere I've never been. And
Right.
I think from then on, like there weren't apologies, there was like gentle rule breaking of them just doing what they wanted. So then I'm taking a journey with someone who doesn't look like me. And I am empathizing with that character or feeling that character's ups and downs, even if I'm a white girl raised in relative privilege. Like I get to take other people's journeys because I'm in the theater. And so from then on, I always felt like entertainment should, with obviously certain like historical perspectives, one has to keep in mind, but like our entertainment should represent the world in which we live, like both in front of and behind the camera. I think it makes for it changes people at home watching or in the theater watching, even if they don't realize it, their hearts are being opened a little bit, their minds are being changed a little bit. And I think it's our job both to the like kids coming up the ranks or watching at home to see themselves reflected. And also it's our job to make the world a slightly better place in whatever tiny ways we can. Because obviously I don't have like big budgets. I'm not in major movie theaters as a writer, writer producer yet, but in little
Yes.
ways I can be muscular. Yeah. And I do think indie films can be more muscular because we don't have like a board of old white men, breathing down our necks, or like I can make the movie I want to make. Nobody's going to tell me so and so's not hot enough or the right color or the right size or age or whatever. I
Right.
can do
And
whatever I want.
often the change that needs to happen never happens within the monolith. It's always something that happens over here
Yes,
that
yes,
intersects,
yes,
you know?
yes, yes. I love it. Yes, something that happens. And that's, I think, the other reason to crew up with diversity and gender balance is even if you don't think that costume designer or that composer or that, key grips background is going to be seen on screen, it does. It affects sort of the way in which they shoot and the way in which they dress someone or compose their music. Aside from the responsibility we have to bring up, lift ranks of new creatives that wouldn't otherwise necessarily have access.
Right, right.
I think.
And it's so funny. I've always been, so I went to school in the South, I went to Vanderbilt, and, race was a big thing when I was at Vanderbilt. And it was always a thing, not for us, but in the discussion when I was cast in a role that wasn't a Black role.
Right,
You
right,
know, when we're talking about casting in these roles, none of it's real.
right.
Not for
Already,
one
none of it's
second
real.
is it
Yes,
real.
right,
So why
right.
can't we open up
Yes.
and bring the
Right.
best people in?
Why are we suddenly right? Oh my God. That's at its like kernel. That's so beautifully put. Like none of it's real. So why are we trying to adhere to like fake rules about it? Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have to break down these like
Yes.
arbitrary rules and silos of who
Yes.
can and can't do what and what you can and can't say, because it's actually, when we do that, it's actually not contributing to anything but more division and a
I
lack of
agree.
understanding.
I agree. And if our heart is in the right place, like, and that I feel that way when I'm writing roles too, of like I'm not gonna not write a role for a character because I don't. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna probably tell a uniquely Black story because I don't. Those aren't my like beginnings, my origins. But I'm gonna write characters for all people and with my heart in the right place and if that actor that I hired is like, this feels uncomfortable, I don't like to say it this way, this was how I would say it, I'm open to all those things. But like you're right, like I'm not going to fence myself into, because it also deprives other people of opportunity. Like I want to
Right.
give
And
opportunity.
it's listen, it's complicated when you
It
talk
is.
about issues of representation and
Yes.
who gets what work. It's complicated, and I clearly understand and respect that. But I think we need to stop. I think we need to stop thinking about ourselves in these very specific individual
Right.
lanes and think about,
Right.
because you talk about it, we're storytellers. You call
Yeah.
yourself, you say, you're very clear. You say, I'm in the business of storytelling.
Right.
And in the telling of story, it needs to include everybody.
Everybody. And the way
Everybody
we
needs to
can.
have a voice. And you know
Yes.
what? Yeah,
Go.
go.
You go.
Well, I was going to say, if you as a white screenwriter make a mistake in something that you write, a the person who's acting the role should feel comfortable enough to say this doesn't feel right without making you feel like you've created a cardinal sin. And B, you as the writer should be able to receive that and say, well, how can we find what's right in this?
What feels right to
Right?
absolutely.
Because we're all learning together, right?
Absolutely. And if you're afraid to learn, then you're just going to stay in your box. And I think like together with my attempt to create work and story, I can make an active effort as a white creative woman to go support, to watch the movies by creators of color and to support the plays and the novels and the TV shows of creators of color,
Right.
because then it does, I don't know, lifts everybody. I
Well,
really
there's
do
there's
believe that.
understanding there that you start to
Yeah.
understand, and I just and people say it's well, this is a Hollywood conversation, but it's not, because Hollywood dictates so much of our culture,
Much.
and
Yes.
those images is representation.
Yeah.
So you having you know Kadeem Hardison in your last movie was great because he was playing a character who was black,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it
It's
wasn't
just
written like a black character. He
yeah.
just brought his humanity, his experience, his life
Yeah.
into
His
that role.
Kadeemness. Yeah. Absolutely. It's just literally making our people, our stories represent, like, reflective of the people we keep around us that we have in our world. It's
Right.
just they look everyone's all the ways, all the ages, all the genders and reps and
We look,
yeah,
this was not what I was planning on talking about with you, but here we go. But I just feel like I think issues of representation, and I think why I'm sort of here with you is because at this point in the conversation is because you're in a business that creates images of representation for people, and those images matter.
they
And
do.
the fact that you were putting people in front of and behind the camera, that you're taking that into account, that you are creating a space for there to be an exchange, I think is really important just for
Too.
the sake of creativity and for the sake of
I do
conversation
too.
and moving us forward.
And I think I think there's really no reason everyone should be taking it into account. Again, unless it's like, I mean, I don't even know what the scenario would be. Some historical time that was in a white person asylum somewhere, maybe like, but I just otherwise, and the gender thing too, it's everyone should be just making best efforts.
Best
And it should,
efforts.
yeah, to just reflect
I
it.
love that.
Yeah.
So I was interested because you say that you're a storyteller, and I agree.
Mhm.
People who are in this particular part of the artistic world, they are telling stories. But I think one of the really amazing parts of your story is the production company that you created to start creating the work that you want to see, that you want to have out there in the world. And I wonder if you can talk about what inspired you to start your own company to create this kind of work that you want to see in the
Today.
market. And it's also part of like owning your own destiny as an artist in Hollywood, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's that side of it. It's probably more self-serving is having this beautiful Chicago experience and then New York too, like this gorgeous theater experience where playwrights, I do think, are excel at that, at writing all of humanity,
Mm,
right? And
mhm,
like they're gorgeous tour de force roles for like women in their 60s. And I just think there's more texture. For me, coming up the ranks, theater was a beautiful place to be. And so then when I got to Los Angeles and they were like, you do not look like what we want in this role. And it's sort of like adjacent to what we were just talking about of like there were so many casts of like 10 guys, two women, one had to be super hot and the love interest, and then the other one that was left was like the character role. And they had to tick so many boxes with that character role because God forbid they have like four women and six men. It was like, two and two. So that was the part that was actor driven and writer driven. I also think coming from theater, I have such a love for and appreciation for great language and
mm,
dialogue. And I have flaws too. Like my flaws would probably like be plot and action and things like that. But I love dialogue and the music and rhythm of that. So I felt equipped to write for my peers. Part of it's that I love working with my friends. And I love that same thing of like rising tide lift all boats. Like I love creating opportunity for others as well. So I thought so. Kelly Demerit is my producing partner under Film Camp Productions. The Clear Mind I produced with Kristen Higgins,
mhm,
Higgins, and she's River Place. But so Film Camp, we came together because we wanted to provide opportunity for our friends. We wanted to tell a story. We did wanted to take destiny into our own hands. Like it is very tiring, as too, like to sit around and wait for the phone to ring or to someone to say, here's a scene in this show. You get to talk about how the man took the bag and ran down the street and never saw me. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful for those scenes as well, that they pay the rent. But it's silly. Like I guess it is opportunity based, and then I think of myself as, if it was hard for me, imagine a performer of color. Again, it's that thing of, I think you got to sometimes you have to do it yourself.
yeah.
And if you know how you're feeling with the dearth of opportunity, imagine how this community is feeling. And so while we're at it, let us try to give everyone who is underserved, within the confines of this one project, an opportunity to shine.
And you said something very interesting about you said that within your work, there are flaws still today.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
produced 2 movies. You've been an amazing actress and some great plays and great television work. Um, I've reached this point too where I'm sort of like, I don't mind the flaws
Yeah.
because again,
Yeah.
none of it's real.
I know.
It's all process.
Totally.
And it's funny. I remember, when people lost their minds because of the Game of Thrones ending,
Oh
and
yeah.
I was like, hey,
They're
calm
like,
down,
there are dragons. Just
relax,
love on the dragons.
love
Yeah.
on the dragons. But also, I think there's something very humbling and beautiful in flawed processes.
Nice. Nicely put.
Sometimes the
Yeah.
dialogue doesn't work. Sometimes
But
the
right.
ending's terrible.
Yeah.
But it's
And
like,
you're right. It almost makes it more accessible, right? Like that my flaws in my little movie will encourage filmmakers everywhere to make their own,
yeah,
right? Because they'll be like, I like this, but she totally failed at that. Like, I can do that better. And they'll go out and they'll make theirs and they'll provide opportunity. And I agree. I think there's something invigorating about watching something that's not quite perfect.
and I'm not talking about things need to be trash. That's what I'm talking about at
Right.
all. But but I'm talking about, you know, the one thing that I'm learning as I get older is that there is no perfection
Yeah.
and that there are bad days,
Hmm.
there are bad months,
Hmm.
there are bad years.
Hmm.
But through the process, you still must be
Must be.
and you must
Yeah.
do. So, if the scene isn't written perfectly, if the ending of the show is not exactly what you want, well, go write your own TV show, as you
Yeah.
said, and write the ending that
Yeah.
you want to have. But
Yeah.
also, Shauna, I feel like a part of it too is we live in a world where there's no tolerance for anything outside the boxes. And if you make a
Hmm.
mistake,
Hmm.
if you say the wrong thing, if you wear the wrong clothing,
Yeah.
if you date the wrong person,
Yeah.
poor Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
you're in so much trouble,
Yeah. Which is crazy.
right?
Which is crazy, right? Like the little mistakes, of which there are so many in all of our worlds, right? I agree with you. I think it's good, and also it keeps it keeps us going. It keeps the people in our orbit going because they'll learn from our mistakes, just like we'll learn from our mistakes. I agree. It's so much more engaging. It's almost like, I don't fish, but like a fish hook. Like it kind of catches you. You catch
Yeah,
on the flaws and
yeah.
keeps you going forward or sideways or yeah, I
I remember,
agree.
I remember we had this professor at Yale who I talk about often on this show named Wesley Fada, who was a Martha Graham dancer and then danced with her and
Oh my
then
God.
taught at Yale. And he used to say that Martha loved it when dancers fell because it meant that they were like really out there, like doing it,
Really pushing but beyond
pushing
their
it.
limits.
And that,
I
that,
what a gorgeous quote.
yeah, right?
Ah, yes, I love that. Oh, I love it.
May we
Yeah.
all fall
May
more.
we all fall more. Yes. Oh my God, it's so true because it does. It means we're out there like just trying, like just bumbling through and
Bumbling
doing it.
through,
Yeah.
bumbling
I
through.
do love that. I love that. There's certain communities I think that are so supportive. Like I do find the indie film community to be very supportive and theater and I think it is partly that. Everybody knows that it's not easy and we're out there failing and bumbling and falling, but we
And
continue on
winning, and
and
winning.
and winning. Yeah, even right, even in success. And then all the more reason to have your success include as wide a representative group as you can.
Yeah,
So that even if you just lift up a little bit, it's like that
absolutely.
that's 100 people that come with you, you
Absolutely.
know.
Shauna, was it always acting for you? Like how did you end up in this wacky business?
In the wackadoodle business, right? I mean, I think, I went through the whole like I want to be a veterinarian, I want to be a private investigator, I want to be a lawyer for 7 seconds. Doctor that was never because it seemed very difficult. But yeah, and I think and I was definitely not I definitely don't come at it as the like star of my high school. Like I was deep in the ensemble, I was a door holder and that always, but it gave me an opportunity to like observe, which I liked doing. And I kind of was aware of liking watching people and watching human behavior. So I guess that would be what I would say, is that my in was as an observer of human behavior.
Mm.
Often because I was like out here in the outskirts or deep in the ensemble. I think it was not rooted in enough people told me I could, because nobody told me. No one was like, so pretty, you know what I mean? Because I'm weird looking and whatever. And no one was like, you're so, like, I was not, my ego was not stroked as a young person. So that's not why I'm in. I'm in, I think, for the behavior part of it.
Yeah.
And then an actor seemed the most logical. And remember that horrible thing for years where everyone's like, you can only do one thing, or it means you failed at the others. So for years, I didn't like touch the writing really, because I was like, well, that means I've failed as an actor if I write. So dumb. We know now.
And let me tell you, I love that you're actor, producer, writer, mom, wife, friend.
Yeah.
Like because we were all
Right.
multi hyphenates. Like literally, like why do we all co-sign that we could only do and be one thing?
Right? Somebody told us that and they were wrong.
They
Yeah.
were
We are
so
all
wrong.
so many things, even if it means we're failing a little bit at all of them.
Just a
We
little bit.
are. Just a
But
little bit.
it's so funny. I when I started doing this podcast, I was like, I shouldn't be doing this because it's not really what I do. And then I was like, hey, I don't know anybody any explanations about what I do because nobody's paying for it but me. And B,
Yes.
why the heck not?
Right?
Why not?
I mean, and this is gorgeous. And this has been how many years now?
This is year
Is it
three.
7? Oh,
Year three. It feels like seven sometimes.
Abby, for me, it's been on my radar for 7 years. It's been in my heart for 7. But right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's like me too. I mean, I came to it late too. I think it was 5 years ago. It was my first like indie thing, indie film.
But you know,
So
Sean, I
yeah.
remember we've been friends since what the early 2000s, right? And so I
Yeah.
remember even back then we were talking about bigger things than just acting because
Yes.
you were writing back then even I
I
remember.
mean, that I was writing. That's true. I was writing. I didn't know if I'd ever make any of them, but I was writing. God, and those were they Monday nights, Wednesday nights, or we just picked our
um
nights?
I think they were Thursday nights.
Thursday, yes.
I think they were Thursday nights.
We would get together and we would talk about everything
Everything.
under the sun.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for that. That saved me for a good couple of years.
Yeah, they got us
Just
through. We were the fearsome
got us through.
foursome. Remember
Fingers
that?
and forth.
Remember
That was so good.
that?
Oh,
Yeah,
in my heart forever.
forever. I still have the
Yeah.
pictures from those times.
I know. I was gonna dig for it before today.
So
Yes.
I wonder, Shauna,
Yeah.
you know, Hollywood's a tough town. It's a tough industry, and I wonder how you maintain your sense of self in this industry that is so built on external validation or invalidation, and how do you drown out those voices in your head that tell you no, and sort of focus on the voices inside your head that are saying yes and that believe in what you're doing? Like, what is that mechanism within you to do that?
I think it is from so much rejection that I mean, you can fall on either side of that, right? When someone says like stop, you can either be like okay, or you have to go over and around and through and I think there's just always been a part of me inside. Like my mom was like a softie, but with like a really strong core and and they're good people, my mom and my dad. And I just feel like, I don't know, there was enough in me that said that someone can't tell me no. Like enough, I wish I could point to what it was, but enough that, and I try and tell my kids this now, that like the best way to respond to that person's criticism is to do the very thing they said you cannot do, or
Mm,
be the thing they said you cannot be. So one thing I do when I'm trying to create an opportunity for others and myself is with each little role I write for myself, I write the role that someone's not going to cast me out. You know what? Like, this is a long road to this role, so I'll just write it for myself. When someone tells you can't do, that is all the more reason that you go do. So that is how, and it doesn't mean it's easy. I think when I'm fortunate now because I have this gift of a role on NCS Hawaii, which was a blessing from those showrunners who are amazing. So it's easy to say from a place of work. I know when there are quiet times, it can be completely demoralizing and depressing. And I think those are the times when I return to like pen to paper. Mm-hmm. So for other people on this track that I'm on, when you are not being given the work, I do think you have to make it for yourself or work on making it for yourself, because it will just take the pressure off. You'll be over here working on a project and then something will come in for you, because it's not fair until we do our part to create more opportunity for other people who don't fit in those lanes. That is, I think, also why I feel a responsibility to write for others and cast and hire others who are not like everybody's go-to.
Right.
Because there's so much gift out there. And if I am honoring my own little gift, it is on me to try my best to bring in others to let their gifts shine. So really, but it isn't easy. I agree. It is easier to say from a position of work. But I would say in those quiet times, pivot. You don't take yourself out of the business. You just pivot and you write your own thing. Just start working on your own thing, or shoot your own thing, or work on directing or painting or writing a novel or something that satisfies you when others are telling you you cannot. You can, you just do it yourself.
I think I had so much angst and anxiety about not being a creative person anymore, because it was such a huge part of my life, that I think a lot of this podcast and my newsletter and writing was born out of, I have to do something.
Yes, it is that.
I have to take up some space in my life that I take ownership of.
That is what it is. That totally is what this to me feels so rooted in that. The podcast feels so rooted in that, like that creative core of you.
Absolutely. I feel that's true.
Beautiful.
Sean, I wonder, we've been friends a long time, and I wonder how being a mom, and especially having a daughter, shifted your perspective on all of this.
On the whole, right, on the trajectory and stuff. Well, parenting definitely, it does turn your head, obviously, to it being the most important thing, right? For me, it is, being a mom is the most important job that I have, even though I will always to be the person, to be whole, I have to do the other things too. But, mom is first. It doesn't mean I'm succeeding at it all of the time. But my kids are amazing. And I always do think of that thing of like, you're never going to say, oh, I wish I worked more. I wish on the deathbed, you're going to say, I wish I spent more time with family. And so I try to remember that is, well, I don't even have to try to remember. It is where my heart is first.
Yeah.
And we're lucky because we're two circus performer family, where my husband and I, Jason, is also an actor, which is both wonderful and awful. But so we are able to be with the kids quite a bit.
How do you guys talk to them about what you do, and talk to them about success and image and fame? Because they are around all of that. So how do you put that into context for them?
I think, which so far this is the route we're going with them, is they just don't even think about it, that everybody's just a person, and that nobody, again, we're character actors, so we are still circus performers, essentially. Like, there will always be a slog of sorts, juggling. So they know that that it's not like super glam for us. Also, we're in Hawaii, so it's pretty normal here.
Yeah.
They're not surrounded by like the Hollywood vibe stuff. Yeah. If they ever got into it, I would clap those little hands and be like, no, everybody's just everybody's normal. Everyone should be treated as a human
Mm.
in a humane way. And so it's actually weirdly not, it's not that hard. They feel normal, I think.
Shauna, you've had such a great life. What has surprised you in life?
I think I am surprised by being able to pick up and land somewhere else. I think I've been surprised by how much I love the uncertainty. Okay, that's what I'll say. I think I've been surprised by how much I love the uncertainty, which sort of goes back to loving the flaws, I think. Like
Mm.
I run anxious normally, but I've come to a place now in my hitting 50s. Like I'm okay with it just being messy, which I could take you through our house on a different day and you would see just how okay I am with being messy. Now we try, but we have 2 kids and a dog. But yeah, I think I've been surprised by not needing to cling so tightly to what I thought I wanted for myself and
Mm.
my trajectory.
And so, to some capacity, I think we're all sort of we
Yeah,
all we all have to pivot.
we all have to pivot, and it is a pretty intense, like crazy time, and it probably always was, but it
Mm.
just, it feels freshly nuts, and we just hang on to the people we love and lift others and be kind. Yeah, so I think I've been surprised by how much am enjoying the journey, I guess I would say.
Mm. What has it been for you that your biggest leap of faith to have the life that you have today? I'm always curious because everyone has that moment when they have to like let go of the rope.
Right, let go a little, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know there are I guess one would be agreeing to get married because that's a leap.
Yeah.
Every day, a fresh leap of joy. I do. We're very loving, but it is a leap. I think it's a leap to partner up. And then I think the big leap is that first creative one with my doing the first feature with Kelly and my little production company. That for me was something I would never have thought and again, it's so tiny. So I feel like everyone else has bigger leaps than me. But for me, it was a leap because it feels so aggressive to take things into your own hands, you know, as a creator and as an actor, you're so used to being like, can I please have this one little thing? And
Yeah.
I'll do your thing. And so for me, the leap of saying it, you know what, F it. I can do this. I can do it. And I don't care if it stinks. And I remember someone told Kelly and I, you'll definitely cry at least once a week. And we did. And it was just such an adventure. And so I would say that was my big take, which for anybody else, it would be just taking ownership of that. Like you said, you were questioning, am I really good? And then you honored that part of you that wanted to still embrace the creative, and you did. You started your podcast. That is a leap. Doing my first film was a leap because we're risking ridicule and shame and all the things.
All the things. But you know
And
what?
now we know we can get it and ridiculed and shamed and mocked and derided, and we don't care.
And I don't care. I really
I
don't
don't
care.
care.
But Shauna, it's so funny that you say that it's a small thing, but I don't think it is because most people don't do it. Most people have the
Yeah.
dream and they
And
drink
then,
because they
yeah,
don't have the
right,
dream, or they
right. Yeah.
have
Or,
affairs, or they
right.
you know,
Find another way to fill that hole. Right.
yeah. So
You're right.
I think it's huge that when I saw that you were doing that, I was
Mm,
so excited. And I was just like, yes,
yes. Right.
yes,
That's the thing. Everyone deserves that. A yes. Right.
yeah. Or
And
make your own.
yeah.
Or
Right.
make
Everyone deserves that. Right. That yes to doing their own thing. Because the empowerment you get from that is so much huger than someone handing you something.
Yeah,
It really is.
I agree. So, okay, so season 3,
Yeah.
I'm really focusing this season on
impact and what we
Oh,
leave behind. And maybe it's just because we're
I like
all getting a little
it.
older,
Hmm.
a little grayer. Yeah, it's not so skinny as it used to be around here.
Right. Totally. Mhm. Yes, all those things.
All those things. So, I wonder for you, what legacy do you hope to leave behind? For it can go as big as the world or for the people in your life. What is that thing that you want to leave behind? And are you
Behind,
actually doing it?
moving it in that direction.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this doesn't mean I do it all the time or that I'm succeeding, but I'm going to say kindness because that's what I'm working on with my kids who are kind. They have other flaws, but they're very kind. And so I feel like really our best way to make the world better when we go is that. And if we apply it to all quadrants of our life, it'll
Mm,
cover it all, I think. Like if that's the quality you're focusing on, obviously you can't do it all, but you can put time towards something that means something to you that lifts someone in the community or a group of people in the community. You can create entertainment that puts a little more kindness into the world. You can raise kids that are kind so that when you're gone, they will be kind to others and lift them up. I think it's one of those like bigger words that can actually be worked on every day in little ways. And it applies to the environment, right? Like it's one thing that I think if you applied everywhere would make the world better after
mm.
we are gone until we're hit by an asteroid, as my daughter reminds me. She's like, I can't even remember. I don't remember the dates, but she's like, apparently we're burning up in X number of years. And she's probably right. But so we're working on anxiety too.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a big one. But yes, in the meantime, until we solve those bigger things, kindness, which I think can be used toward the others.
I love that. Attica Locke, who did, I don't know if you know Attica Locke or not.
Should.
She's a writer, producer,
Oh, yes,
showrunner.
yes,
Do you know
yes.
Attica?
Yeah, I
She
not
went to North,
personally, but
she
yeah.
went to Northwestern.
Yes, yes. And I know that name. Yes.
Yeah. But she talks about the power and the need for kindness. And she says,
Oh,
like for her kids, she's like, I don't care who you love, who you marry, where you go to
what your
school,
career is, any of that.
but
Yeah.
she wants to raise a kind human being. And I think there's
Yes.
so much power in that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, I love her. Okay.
Mm,
Yeah. Because then the people we help raise in kindness or encourage toward kindness will then spread their like kindness. And
yeah.
those people will spread their kindness. It's going to multiply
Yeah.
from our little base.
Mm,
Yeah. And that's your orbit is one of kindness. And so that, like the people you touch, yeah, I love it.
yeah.
It just goes and they take it out.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Shauna, thank you. Thank you so
Oh
much
my
for
gosh.
today.
Get your tush to this island.
Soon.
Thank you
Well,
so much.
I am trying to get there in the next couple months to see you.
You
Yes.
tell me dates. Oh, what a joy. I love seeing your face. I love what you do for people and for your world,
Thank
for
you.
my world. I love what you do for my world.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, so loved it. So many big smooches and hugs.
Yes, same
We'll
to
talk
you.
soon.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Oh,
to, and to
bye,
those
my
of
love.
you who are watching or listening, remember, we all have a voice. Use yours kindly. Bye, everyone. And thank
Oh,
you, Shauna.
I love that. Mahalo.